So welcome, our brilliant and beloved colleague Jehad. We so appreciate your consistent visionary leadership and solidarity. And as always at SETC, we begin all things by giving thanks to our creator, by giving thanks to the original stewards of the various lands we're on. We give thanks to all our ancestors, all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Jehad, can you please introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers and share a bit about your remarkable work?
My God, I don't want you to stop. I want you to keep going these inspiring and opening remarks. Thank you, Victor. And it has always been inspiring and wonderful to be in your orbit and to see what you've been doing. And thank you for always trying to pull us in being in the right direction. And I am delighted to be here. Thank you. My name is Jehad Aliweiwi. By way of introduction, I'm the executive director of Laidlaw Foundation, and I've been here for 10 years. And it's people like Victor's and others that really got me to this place. So I'm very grateful. We are in a position to work with young people across the province who are impacted by various systems that have not been working for them. And the financial system and the flow of capital is one of those systems that just underlines all of these challenges.
Indeed. Thank you so much. And since the day we met, you've always been a source of inspiration and a remarkable ally and mentor and guide in this work. So my next question is a perfect segue. What's inspiring you right now? What has you curious, or what's keeping you up at nights?
Yeah, this is a great question. I'm constantly inspired by people that I have the privilege of crossing paths, planned or unplanned. I work in a space where it's dominated by passionate young people who are not, as I say, the future or the leaders of tomorrow. They are living now. They are doing things that are incredible. They're changing their own communities, and they're forcing people like us, like Laidlaw and other foundations, to pay attention and to correct course, because things have not worked for many years. So I'm constantly inspired. I feel quite privileged to be in these spaces. What's keeping me up at night is the idea of being in a foundation and in a sector that has a lot of privilege and a lot of assets, and we only worry about the disbursement quota of 5%, and we pay very little attention to the 95% and how it's invested and how it's going to communities. So how do we invest and grant in the same space is something that I've been grappling with, and I know others have. This is really something that both inspiring and frightening at the same time, because we have to get it right.
I couldn't agree more. I always felt that even though there was some incredible advocacy around the quota, I feel it fell short in terms of the sector and the fact that just primarily anchor institutions, hospitals and universities were best positioned, but not really focused on the margins and the periphery of the economy. So once again, I applaud your leadership, the activism, the advocacy, and the awareness building that you've done around this work. So my next question is, what challenges and barriers do you face in your work? And what are some of the approaches you and your colleagues are taking to overcome some of these challenges and barriers?
I mean, the challenges remain to be that a lot of what we do really hasn't changed in many years. So this this is a sector that is focused on really, grant making, for example, is very mechanical. So application comes, they ask, you flow the fund. But we haven't really been, and what's the challenge is to get that, that kind of massive buy-ins from the sector where there's these things that are considered outliers and promising practices shouldn't be outliers. They need to be the practice of the entirety of the sector. So that's something that the challenge is that those who really want to do things continues to be on the sidelines, and the majority remains tentative and hesitant. So we want to make sure that the sector, at least we work with, philanthropy, that is quite genuine about changing the world, and they really are committed to a better society, is that to do it a little better and to make sure that voices of the community is centered at every conversation, not only in the grant making, but also the investment and the flow of resources that are sustaining so many other communities, but not ours.
I couldn't agree more, sir. So my next question is, do you have a set of key priorities right now in your work you'd like to amplify to our community of practice?
So again, the question of, and that's not really original to Laidlaw, the challenge of how do we grant and invest in the same space? So how do we work with communities with a suite of options to provide them to do the work that needed to be done? So how do we better align our investment approach and strategy with our granting and community work? Is something that we really want to struggle with. I think the partnership with the community, the advocacy of the community, we really believe that it is the voices of the community that will get us to do the groundbreaking work that needs to be done, because that's really who matters at the end. So these are the ideas and the challenges, and what's really making us look forward to the next 5 years as we continue to think strategically to look forward. But it's that how do we deal with these issues as well?
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all that context. And once again, just a consistent leadership. So my next question, what is your ultimate goal, and what does success look like and feel like to you and your colleagues?
Well, obviously, the ultimate goal of the foundation is to ensure that young people and their communities are connected and included and have the opportunities and the options like everyone else. So that's really the very basic and quite simplistic approach. Our vision is for a society where young people who are impacted by the justice, education, and child welfare system are no longer held back by it. They have the tools and the resources to thrive despite the challenges by these systems. As an organization, we made it clear and a priority that Indigenous and Black youth continue to experience the most disproportionate impact by various systems, but these three systems in particular that we feel are quite suffocating, have long-standing challenges and limitations. And ultimately, we really want to have a meaningful impact on these issues, ensure that young people are no longer held back by the fact that their schools may not be meeting their needs. The justice system might have some inherent systemic challenges, and the child welfare system is designed with the best interest of not the kids in mind, someone else. So these are issues that we want to make sure that we advocate for. And ultimately, success looks like that every young person exiting the child welfare system exits to an opportunity and is ready. And every young person who has an experience with the justice system gets a fair chance at getting the help and the support they need. And the education system works for everyone, and works greatly for everyone, not just for some. So that these are the ultimate. In terms of how we manage our portfolio and our assets, which is our biggest really leverage, is that our ultimate goal is to ensure that our assets constantly and at all times serve our mission and purpose. And that's really, to put it mildly up, there's no other exception to that.
That's incredible. Incredible, absolutely incredible. And I feel when you look at those pillars that Laidlaw has had for quite some time, it really centers justice, access, inclusion, diversity, decolonization, equity. And I love the way you framed out that piece around the capital, because a lot of times there is this notion that large asset allocators or folks that are leading endowments don't have an obligation to young people or to the mission vision. There's almost like this mission drift that happens often. And I love the fact that you're always able to center those key pillars and the targeted demographics that you want to engage that are obviously being disproportionately engaged by systems that are a lot of times oppressive, and very problematic. So once again, I just applaud your consistent leadership and all that you're doing on behalf of so many. So my last question, do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our listeners and our viewers?
Well, I think the call to action is that our communities have to really pay closer attention and demand more from institutions like Laidlaw and others. Demand more accountability, demand more responsiveness and relevance, and to ensure that what we are doing and saying is meeting needs, and not just because we think that's what the community needs, but also the allyship and the friendship, of the community is important to check in with us, to ensure that we are also getting our inspiration and learning the magic that is happening around our communities, that sometimes in these roles we feel a bit disconnected from. So just to continue to insist on us being connected is also, and this is also an invitation for people to reach out, connect, and include us in their incredible work that is making a difference in the lives of so many people on the ground. So we want you to force us to bring philanthropy to the field.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And in a world with such deep divides and polarization right now, I think that's a beautiful call to action in terms of just our interconnectedness and the interdependence that we have as human beings. So once again, I applaud everything you stand for, my friend. You've been a beloved, brilliant colleague, mentor, guide, and leader in so many ecosystems and so many sectors. So once again, I just really give thanks.
Oh, very kind. Victor, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm always inspired by your presence, by your incredible wisdom. For a young person, you really exude so much wisdom and love, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for including me in this opportunity and providing me the chance to speak to you and to your listeners. Thank you, my friend.
I appreciate you. And as always at Setsi, we close this interview, this conversation, the way it began, by giving thanks to our creator, to the original stewards of the various lands around, to all our ancestors, to all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We give thanks to all our elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much, Jehad. I appreciate you.
Thank you. This is the best Monday morning conversation I've had in years, so I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend.